Hello, once again out there. Welcome back to the weekly podcast of Oriental Pacific Futures, or we call it OPF, based in KL, Malaysia. All right, this is Dawong here, and I am one of your favorite market opinion leaders. All right, and we are coming back here to give you on the continual update on the CPO trading in Bursa, Malaysia. And before we start off, we want to welcome the month of July. All right, July, and very quickly we are moving to the second half of the year 2014. And this weekly podcast will cover from the 30th of June up to the 4th of July, all right, which is this coming week in the year 2014. And we strongly believe that the FCPO prices is continuing to move down after the last 4 weeks of correction. All right, last week I remembered that we actually forecast the up move on the FCPO market, and it actually came up to above 2,500 ringgit per ton in the September prices as we expected before it went down and closed at 2,445. All right, 2,445 ringgit per ton in the FCPO prices. And very quickly, let us start off by looking at the weekly chart. All right, pay attention here. This is a weekly chart, and as I mentioned earlier, we have seen the 4 weeks in the past of up move correction, and this week most probably the correction once finished, we're going to see the beginning on the down move. All right, from the weekly chart, we move into the daily chart now. All right, let's switch to the daily chart, and this chart is still not much different and exactly the same as what I showed you last week. All right, and the market actually pulled up to a 50% correction above 2490, and it went up to the high of 2511. Pay attention to the data here when I put the cursor on this bar. All right, on the 25th June, market went up to 2511 before it turned down and closed on Friday at 2445. All right, looking at this day chart, we have seen the EMA 4 and 20 crossing down on Friday closing, and also market has begun to drop for 3 market days before the weekend. So this week, where are we going to look at the trend? Basically, we are picking on shorting to see a downtrend, all right, and the top side resistance is still going to be very strong at 2500, which is 2,500 ringgit per ton. And however, after the market has come down for 3 days, we actually target and reckon the market might pull out 1 or 2 days correction in the early part of the week before it genuinely turns down on Wednesday onwards. So the market is likely to pull up, and how high will it pull up? Then from the day chart, let us go into the 60-minute chart. All right, we see that this is EMA 200 prices, and suppressing very firmly at 2480. So this is going to be our strong resistance for this coming week. So if the market pull up on this week, we are expecting the top side range to hit anywhere from 2460 to 2480. All right, before it starts to turn down after the midweek. All right, so this is our first analysis on this week, which is 2460 to 2480 is a top side resistance. And on the downside, once the market continues to move down on this week, we are seeing most likely anyway 2,400 to 2,420 as our first downside target. All right, so very quickly, as all of you can learn from my simple technique here, all right, as I have just outlined to you. And this week range, we are expecting the FCPO September prices to move downwards with the top side 2460 to 2480 resistance, and on the downside going down to 2,400 to 2,420. So this is going to be the weekly podcast and summary for this week, which will start from the 30th June up to the 4th of July in the year 2014. This is Dawong here, and from Oriental Pacific Futures, I am one of your favorite market opinion leaders, and thank you for staying with us. Welcome back next week. All right, we always open up our arms, and I hope you can gain a lot of benefits from watching our videocast in the FCPO prices. Thank you very much, and I shall speak to you again next week. Bye bye.